Good morning. It is Kwak TV, because why watch crap TV? Well, you can watch Kwak TV with me, Callum here. Good morning. How are we? It's Tuesday, 2 days into March, 2nd of March. How are we feeling, people? Honestly, absolutely fantastic. If you are jumping on live, make sure you jump in the comments for me and say hello, say good morning, tell me how you are doing. And you can catch this on my Facebook page, where you can go and share it far and wide. So my Facebook page, Kwak Talks, you can go and share that wherever you want. You're also catching this in my Facebook group, The Duck Pond. You can also catch this replay on YouTube. You can also catch a little snippet on LinkedIn. You can catch me everywhere. Honestly, absolutely everywhere. I am feeling it this morning. I'm just saying to my guests that when you have them really wonderful and fabulous showers? Yeah, this morning that is how I felt. I just absolutely amazing shower. Absolutely loved it. So, how are we? I say the word so much, it's ridiculous. But how are we doing? Obviously, 2 days in, and I'm absolutely loving it. Flight school. This is the second day of flight school today that I launched this week. My 5-day program, and it's going great. Day one was absolutely fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what today brings. Today we're looking at something which, well, since it's called flight school, today we're going through baggage handling. The puns are endless. The puns are endless. So before I bring today's guest on, who is the one and only fabulous Mrs. Not sure, Jude Rhodes, I'll be bringing her on very, very shortly. However, until then, good morning, Kirsty Hall. Oh, you got another client. Yes, it's what we like. This is what we want. This is what we need. I love it. So, as we know, every morning I go through the different days of the year, Twitter hashtags, sometimes Google Trends, sometimes weird and wonderful news, and anything else in between. Before I do all that, I was just listening to good old Gadio this morning. That is a radio station, good old Gadio, right? So I was listening to that, and there was saying about the guy on there being blocked by another celebrity. I'm not going to mention because the other celebrity is an absolute knob, so it wasn't really a great loss. But have you ever got to that moment where you've realized someone's possibly blocked you? Like, you ask this question, it's like, have you ever gone to like search someone or just contact someone, you realize they've either unfriended you on Facebook, or you've want to contact them, you can't get in touch, they've blocked you or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, like, I've had that. And if anything, I go to two ways I look at it. Have you unfriended me for a reason? No, because I assess it. So I've unfriended me, and then I go, especially on Facebook, they've probably just had a bit of a clear out and probably just had friends, very close friends on there. Bit of a kick in the nuts, though, isn't it? But sometimes it's a blessing. So you go, well, if you don't want to be my friend, I know where I stand. That was my point this morning. He was just saying it on the radio, and I was like, oh, I really like that. So yes, your days of the year for today. So every day of the year has different themes and different things going on. So today, yours is Read Across America Day. There you go. It's also, you can make it Read Across England Day. It's also Old Stuff Day. So looking at your old stuff and looking at the value of it. It is Banana Cream Pie Day. I could not think of anything worse. I can't stand banana. Puns not intended. I can't stand banana. It is also Dr. Seuss Day. Okay. And it is School Breakfast Week. And on that note, don't forget this week is Eating Disorder Awareness Week. So that's what this week is as well. So make sure you are shouting about that far and wide when you can, as we had the fabulous and wonderful, what's it called? Vicky Midwood on yesterday. I was trying to multitask then. So I'm hoping, as my guest has just told me she cannot hear me, I'm hoping when I bring my guest on, she can hear me. So, with no further ado, we'll give this a go. Can you hear me now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear me. You.
What's going on, man? What's going on? Let me try.
Hello.
Can you hear me now? Yeah?
Yeah.
There we go. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know.
Hopefully I've not just done the first 5 minutes of this in silence. I don't think I did.
No, well, I could hear you to begin with, and then my screen just crashed. I was like, oh my God, no. So I think it was me. I
Okay,
don't
that's good. Well, good morning. Morning, Jude. How are you?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was just my screen just completely crashed, and then I went to completely blank, so I was like, "Oh, no."
It's
Anyway,
okay. We got there. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. We haven't known each other very long, but I really like you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Oh, this is what I like. Jude, just in case people don't know who you are and what do you do. Who are you and what do you do, my love?
Yeah, so my name is Jude, and I am a will and estate planning advisor. I run my own business, which is Lawrence Legacy, and it's been going now coming up. Well, I've been doing wills and estate planning for almost 2 years, and then I started my business at the August last year.
And am I right in believing that Lawrence is your brother's name?
That's right. Yes.
See, I do pay attention when I have one to
Brownie
So
points.
we're gonna dive straight. Oh, first of all, good morning, Mr. Robert Lee. How are you this morning? We're gonna dive straight into it. Lawrence Legacy. I already know the story. Why did you get into wills
Mhm.
and everything else that you do? Why did you get into it?
Yep. Well, the reason why I got into it is I think people only start to look at wills and estate planning when they've had
Mhm.
they've had to go through quite a tragic experience in their life-changing moment, I always say. And that's exactly what happened to me. So my brother passed away 11 years ago this year. God, that's gone quick. 11 years ago, and he was only 27 years old at the time. But he passed away of sudden adult death syndrome. So sadly, my brother went to sleep one night and he just didn't wake up the next morning. There was no health conditions. He was fit and healthy. He didn't smoke, didn't drink, and unfortunately, he just went to sleep and his heart stopped. So the story behind him not having a will in place, and to be honest, most 20-year-olds don't have the will in place. Even a lot of 50-year-olds don't have a will in place. But because I've experienced what it's like not to have one, um, unfortunately, the whole scenario, his estate and his personal belongings went to the wrong person, and even
Mm.
were sent to charity in the end by somebody who was very bitter towards him.
So
Mm.
this is why you're so passionate about it, isn't it? Because it's you have lived it, you have been through it. It's such an important thing. I see people every day of the week that do wills and life insurance. Life insurance is also so important,
Oh, God, yeah.
and it it really is. And you're saying 27. I'm only 25.
Mhm.
Like that's like oh shit. That's that.
Scary.
Yeah, I'm only 25, and he just went to sleep one night and didn't wake up. And I can imagine, obviously, one of the other reasons why you got on this because it was like you're saying, all the messy side at the other end of it, wasn't it? It was all that shit really afterwards.
It was, yeah. It was tragic, to be honest. I don't mind delving into the story a little bit more.
Mm,
So, he was married when he passed away, but he was separated and living with his new partner. And under the laws of intestacy, if somebody passes away and they are married, even though they're separated, they could be separated for 10 years from their actual wife or husband, it's still the legal wife and husband, the spouse, that inherit their personal belongings and their estate. So he was separated, but he was married. So his wife inherited all of his estate, which is around £400,000.
wow.
Um, and even though he's living with his new partner now, but she refused to pay for any kind of costs, funeral costs,
Mhm,
gravestone, burial costs. She refused to pay for anything. And then when myself and my mum went to my brother's house, which she had now moved into,
mm,
um, uh, she said to us at the front door, she said, "Here's some of his personal belongings, one black bin liner full of his clothes." And she said, "Oh, well, that's all you're having because the rest has gone to charity." So, not to actually be able to hold on to your loved one's personal belongings, whether that be an item of clothing
mm.
or um, just silly things that even myself and my brother would have had when we was children. I couldn't choose what I wanted. So to have to go through all of that, but to me, the money wasn't an issue. I would much rather have
Yeah.
that got burnt in a dustbin than it go to her or even get given to charity.
Yeah.
But then when we did go and pick up that black bin liner as well, there was also a brand new sports car on the drive. So she said that she didn't have the money and she didn't factor in the cost of the funeral and the burial expenses, but she had factored in the £40,000 sports car on the drive. So yeah, it's a kick in the teeth.
Yeah, but you know what? It's so good that you open up about this story because there'll be so many people that go through this or might have gone through it, but maybe not thought anything about it. You know, they might have just been like, oh, all right, because they're not educated on it. And obviously that's where you come in. And this is obviously why you're so passionate, where, you know, why you got into what you do. So what tips would you say to anyone at the moment that's, you know, not got a will, not got everything that they need, or possibly going through this, or the risk of going through this, or maybe got someone, you know, that's maybe not very well. You know, they might have some, especially in the current climate, they might not have someone that's very well. I don't want this to be full doom and gloom this morning because obviously the light, for me, the light out of this story is you're now stopping that happening to other people as much as you humanly can. You know, that's the point of why you do what you do. So what would you say to anyone at the moment that needs to get a will sorted, that needs to get everything sorted? You know, I'm 25. Normally I'd be going, why the hell do I need a will? I've got nothing to leave anyone. Like,
yeah. So one of the biggest points I say to everybody is if you're over the age of 18 years old and you have a bank account, you need to write a will. It's not whether or not you own your own house or whether you own any high value items or you have children. It's, to me, it's do you have a bank account and are you over at the age of 18? If yes, then you need to write a will. And the reason why is even if you have maybe £2,000 in your bank account, who would you want to inherit that? Or who, within a will, there's something called executors. So you legally appoint somebody to be able to act on your behalf to distribute out your estate. So if you have a bank account, that needs to be closed down. Who would you trust to close down your bank account? Because that's who you appoint in your will to be able to do that. And then whatever you have in your bank account, then you would want that to go to maybe a loved one, a family member, gift it to a charity. But it's just your wishes. But to me, you don't know what's around the corner. And sadly, I've been through the loss of my brother and I'm 33 now. I have everything in place.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong. When my brother passed away when I was 22, I didn't have anything because I thought, oh, why do you need that? I'm only young. But yeah, my advice is just get all of your ducks in a row now, because then if it does happen, well, you're sorted. And you don't
exactly. Exactly that. And you know, it just is so important. You know, so for me as well, personal point of view, don't be scared. It's not a nice conversation, but don't be scared to maybe ask parents, grandparents about it.
Okay.
So, you know, I met someone a few years ago now that, you know, does wills, etc. And I got told about that person that can decide whether your life support's left on or not. What's that person? What's that person called?
They're a power of attorney, lasting power
that
of
one.
attorney.
Yeah, that one. So I was like, oh, I kind of need to know this.
Yeah.
So I went and asked, and with that, I asked my dad, and my dad was like, oh, you know, I'll show you my will. And one of the things that was in it was that I actually didn't get anything until I was 25. I only turned 25 last year. And he went, oh, I need to change that bit. And I went, yeah, because he wasn't sure if I was going to have my head screwed on, if I was going to have, you know, some sense of my life together. So he wanted to make sure no matter what, but that was everything. That was the house, because I'm my dad's only child. So I wouldn't have got the house or anything until I was 25. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And that was like, even for him to relook at it and see that and go, oh, that needs changing. You've got, you know, I was only 23 and I was like, yeah, you're only 23, but you have got some sense of your life together. Like, I need to look at this. I was like, who's your power of attorney? And it was like his brother and two of his brothers.
Yeah.
And I was like, no offense, you might want to change that because of their age. Like, my dad's the youngest of 7, so these two brothers are in their 70s. Right? And I was like, you might want to change that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I think I need to change. I said, even if that isn't me, it is, but even if that isn't me, you need to change that. And it was just all them little things, and it wasn't a nice conversation, But in the long run, it kind of was, because at the same time, I knew where I stood in the future,
Exactly.
and things like that. And and it's good for planning for that, because it's normally something you wouldn't plan for, but you kind of mentally plan for it, and you're like, oh right, so I know then if that happens and this happens, I can look at that and look at this and look at that, and I need to sort that and I need to sort this. So yeah, like and it's everything like you said, because I'd never seen a will before. I'd never
No,
had. So I was
no.
like, oh, okay, got one now. I'm sorting out now. I've got one. So I was like, oh yeah, I need one of these. But yeah,
Yeah.
and it is, isn't it? And is there any tips you'd say to anyone to actually, what to look at? Like, is there anything they need to look at and see? Because this is such an important document. It's probably if not one of the most, important documents of your life. It is your life. When you no longer exist, that is your life.
Oh God, definitely. I think there's so much that you can look at. If you have children, maybe under the age of 18 years old, who would you? I always ask the question that if you have children that are under 18, if God forbid anything happened to the parents, they went out and they died in a car accident that day, who would you want to pick up your children from school and take care of them for the rest of their lives? And that's then people start to think, oh, well, my parents, but usually the way nature goes, it goes for parents, then children. So a lot of people think, oh, well, the grandparents will look after them. But you've also got to think, what if the grandparents aren't around? That's one thing for guardians that they're called.
Yeah.
As we've already discussed. But you're right. You can have people inherit it at a certain age because you don't know what your children might be like you say, when they're 18, 21, even 25. If you have vulnerable children, maybe they might be disabled or have learning difficulties, you can protect them really for the whole lives as well in trust. So there's so many different aspects of a will. Or maybe it might be that you've got a really special ring or item of jewelry that you want to go to one person. You can list that in the will as well.
Do you know what? Just on that note with jewelry,
Yeah.
the amount of family drama people have when there's death regarding jewelry is
Mhm.
unreal. And even I know that. It is ridiculous. So for me personally, anyone hopefully watching this live on replay or on YouTube,
Yeah.
if you've got some nice jewelry, please put it in your will from a personal point of view, because I've gone through this, who it is going to.
Right. Okay. You've experienced that.
Oh God, yeah. Just like just in particular jewelry, because don't get me wrong, okay, separate example. My mum has fabulous jewelry. My mum has and I wouldn't say it's priceless to me, but I wouldn't say it's cost her thousands, but my mum has very unique pieces of jewelry. A lot of it's been made by hand. It's one of a kind. And I know I would love one particular thing, so I might get it remade into something else. But she has a massive jewelry box full. Luckily for us, not with the kids, because like I said, youngest of 4. To my knowledge, I think we're all very subpar on the jewelry thing. My mum's actually kind of split it out, right? You'd get this, you'd get that, you'd get this. But I know, and have gone through in other sides of my family, in other people's families, I've seen it as well. It's honestly, it's like a free for all. So trying to grab what they can. I'm like, fucking hell.
It is.
So, yeah.
It's horrendous. My advice to that is, if you have somebody that owns an awful lot of jewelry, it's take a picture of all of the jewelry and either print it off, print the pictures, and for the person gifting the jewelry to write on the back and say gift to, the name and the date that picture was taken, and then store that with the will, because then whoever picks up the will, they can pick up all of these pictures of the jewelry, and they know because that person's said that they want them to have it, and that's the easiest way to do it. Because
that is an exceptional tip.
even though it can be listed in an actual will, I know there's somebody that passed away and they had 2 rings very, very similar, and one thought it was one ring and one thought it was the other ring. Anyway, that took a long time before another family member had to step in and make the final decision. So that's why take pictures, signature, date it, and then they know where it needs to go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Jude, on that note, like, what do you know we've been talking like for this long? It's ridiculous.
I know, it's
Honestly, Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, make sure you go. Let me find the banner. Make sure you go and find Jude on LinkedIn, etc. Lauren's Legacy. It really, really is good, and it really is Lawrence's legacy. And you know, you are completely upholding it, and it's fantastic. But thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to kick you backstage, hover around for a couple of minutes, and we'll have a good old natter. How does that sound?
Lovely, fantastic. Thank you, Callum. Lovely.
I'll speak to you in a minute. Bye. Oh. I love that woman. And I say this, to be fair, I have every guest. I'll go, I love this person because I do. I just do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them on the show. So you've been watching Kwak TV because why watch Kwak TV where you can watch why watch Crap TV where you can watch Kwak TV? God, that is a mouthful. Tomorrow, we have the one and only Mr. Brian Lingard, the web man himself. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at halftime with me and Brian. And I cannot wait. And honestly, it's 2 days into March. Have you made them count already? So if you can't be good, be careful. If you can't be careful, don't get caught.